Hey everybody, what's up? It's Tuesday, September 21st, 2010. I am here with my Raw review, if you will. But first of all, I want to send a shout out to ADTV Wrestling's ICO CJ, if you will. Yesterday when he did his review on the Night of Champions, he was kind of asking why WWE was doing back-to-back deals with the pay-per-views. Well, the way I look at it, and it's just a quickie on this, I believe it's scheduling conflicts. I believe WWE tried the best to maybe have it maybe 3 weeks later or something like that, but because due to scheduling conflicts, maybe other events being there, they couldn't do it. So WWE had no choice but to put it, on October 3rd. Now, the other reason I believe could also be the fact that maybe it's due to financial reasons, because if you have noticed, just like last night, they've been having a lot of double tapings. That's not just to, allow the wrestlers and all that, and the divas, if you will, the men and the women to rest and have more house shows or allow them to go overseas and stuff like that. But it's also due to financial reasons, I believe. I believe that's one of the reasons. So anyway, that's what's going on there. That's why we'll probably have it almost like back-to-back pay-per-views, if you will. Now, WWE has done this in the past. Let's not forget that. They have done this in the past before. In fact, the one I remember mostly, because it was only days apart, well, almost a week apart, was when they did Tuesday in Texas back in 1991, basically 6 days after they did Survivor Series. So anyway, let's get into the Raw review, shall we? And now I will probably give you a little bit of spoiler alerts here, riffs, if you will, or kind of a possible hints at what could happen next week, because it was a double taping. So here's we go. Let's take a look at the highlights, basically. Basically, Randy Orton and Sheamus kind of have a confrontation in the ring. Sheamus comes out, interrupts Randy's celebration. He doesn't even give Randy a chance to stand in the center of the ring and soak up, the cheers and all that. Sheamus comes right out and basically says that Randy doesn't deserve to have this celebration, doesn't deserve to celebrate with the title because he didn't beat him one-on-one. And then, of course, we get the GM ding 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 deal, and basically it's announced that Sheamus will face Randy Orton in a rematch at Hell in a Cell. This segment finally does close with the fact that Randy gives Sheamus an RKO after tossing him the WWE Championship after Sheamus demands that Randy hand it back over. Alright, the first match of the night now was between the new tag team champions, Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, and Santino and Vladimir. Okay match, but really wasn't one of the best tag team matches. McIntyre and Rhodes do retain, the titles weren't on the line, I should say, but they do beat Vladimir and Santino. The Hart Dynasty was on commentary, and Michael Cole was basically ripping on the Hart Dynasty and everything. And next week, the Hart Dynasty, these little hints, will, from what I saw, because I saw these on various websites, next week, Hart Dynasty gets a rematch for the titles against McIntyre and Rhodes. And here's the little hint, expect to see maybe a little rift, if you will, between the Hart Dynasty. And speaking of Hart Dynasty, I'll get into this in just a little bit when I talk about the match, the Divas match of the night. The second match we have that night is between John Morrison and Chris Jericho. Great, amazing match. Guess Chris Jericho is sticking with WWE until at least maybe after Hell in a Cell or something like that. I don't know. So, yeah, great match back and forth. Chris Jericho does lose for the second time on Raw to John Morrison. And for the second time, Chris Jericho has this, and again, Chris Jericho has this look of dejection, like, what am I doing wrong? So, but yeah, great back and forth match. The spot of the match I liked was, usually when someone likes to dive off the top corner rope, Basically, they go to the corner, they go to the top rope, and they like to dive outside. Morrison runs up, grabs the top rope, and leaps right over. And I'm thinking, man, I've never seen anything like that. Not even in TNA. So anyway, yeah, John Morrison for the second time on Raw beats Chris Jericho. Then the next match of the night is Edge and Daniel Bryan, from what I remember. Daniel Bryan basically earlier that night kind of asked Edge and Zack Ryder to kind of keep it down because he was trying to read. Edge not being in a great mood and everything after, Sunday, after being eliminated on Sunday, and knowing that with this GM being against him that he's not going to get a good shot. Edge basically says he wants to take on Daniel Bryan, wants to take his frustrations out on him. So they have a good match. Edge and Daniel Bryan have a good match. Miz is on commentary. Both Michael Cole and Miz are ripping into Daniel Bryan and everything. Miz comes up with an excuse they had a torn, mediocre ligament thing, or I don't know. Alex Riley interferes in the match and basically costs Daniel Bryan the match. So we think, but instead what happens is the anonymous GM chimes in, says, Edge, no, it's not going to go down like that. You lose this match. Basically, he reverses the decision. Edge does not like it. He gets on the mic, says, I'm sick of this shit. Well, he doesn't say shit or anything. He just says he's sick of this. He's sick of the beep, beep, beep. He's sick of Michael Cole. He's done. He just starts flipping out. And speaking of Edge, expect him to do something next week that's going to get a pop from the crowd that's almost going to blow the roof off the Conseco Fieldhouse, because he's going to do something next week that a lot of fans have been wanting to see done for quite some time, ever since this anonymous GM thing came around. So expect that to happen. So anyway, yeah, the decision's reversed. Daniel Bryan wins, and then he gets beat down by The Miz and Alex Riley viciously. I mean, really gets beat down to the point that not even Michael Cole knows what to say, all except that they need medical help for Daniel Bryan. So basically, Michael Cole sounds like he might have, might have second thoughts about Daniel Bryan and The Miz individually, but then again, I could be wrong. And speaking of Daniel Bryan and The Miz, this is the only spoiler I'm going to give you guys from next week. But it's announced, and I saw this on WrestlingNewsWorld.com, but it's announced that at Hell in a Cell, they're going to have a rematch for the United States title. It's going to be Falls Count Anywhere, but it's going to be a submission Falls Count Anywhere match. So that sounds like it's going to be a good one. So anyway, next match of the night we had R-Truth and Eve taking on Ted DiBiase and Maurice. It was a decent mixed tag team match. Eve gets the win for her team by pinning Maurice after a swinging, spinning neck breaker, if you will. And then afterwards, as DiBiase and Maurice are going up to the ramp after they lost, you see this Titantron, you hear the sensual music, this very sensual music, and then you see on the Titantron the words, I will have you, basically appearing individually, and the U, not the U, but the O in the U is replaced by a heart. So, and in case you guys don't know about what's going on, in case you forgot, basically this goes back to about a week or two ago when DiBiase and Maurice received some kind of a letter from somebody that nobody knows about, and they don't know who it's really addressed to. Excuse me for a second. Okay. Got about 6 minutes. But anyway, they don't know who it's addressed to. And that's why for what we saw last night. And then we have the Divas match. Now, here's the thing. I read this just recently on WrestlingNewsWorld.com and some other sites. The Divas Championship, believe it or not, is now the official championship. The Unified Divas Championship is now the official championship. So anybody that doesn't like the butterfly design, well, guess what? We're stuck with it. Because according to what I read on some of the wrestling sites, the Women's Championship is gone. That's right. The women's championship, where it just said women's on there, looked like a regular decent championship, is gone, and now we got the Butterfly Divas title in its place. And one of the former women's champions that used to work for WWE, Mickie James, voiced her disheartening about that. I mean, even though Mickie James is the former Divas champion, she held that belt too, but she kind of is a little disheartened by the fact that the championship with so long a linearity is now been retired in favor of this Butterfly Championship. So yeah, the Butterfly Championship, if you will, is the official championship of the Divas division. And we also found out last night, because Michelle McCool was on commentary with Michael Cole and King, that Lay Cool has the Freebird rule in effect. Basically, Vicky Guerrero put into effect months ago in the contracts when I think it was Layla that became champion. She put into effect the Freebird rule on there, which means any member of Lay Cool can defend the singles title. So last night Layla defended against Melina, and believe it or not, Layla beat Melina, I guess a little bit after the distraction caused by Michelle, or I guess Melina being focused on Michelle or something like that. But yeah, Layla beat Melina. And speaking of the Divas titles, again, this is another spoiler from next week, a little bit of a hint. Expect an actual Divas wrestler, a real Diva women's wrestler, to get a shot after next week, to be put in the title picture after next week. Expect that. So yeah, but Layla does beat Melina with what looks like a diamond dust move or something like that. So yeah, Layla beat Melina, retains the Divas title, or the Unified Divas title, for both her and Michelle because of the Freebird rule. Then we finally have, I think, the match, the main event between Wade Barrett and John Cena. But instead, Wade Barrett says, we have a change of plans. You want me, you got to beat the 4 other members of Nexus. So basically, John Cena has to run the gauntlet, if you will. John Cena beats Heath Slater, he pins him, he pins Otunga with a small package. He causes Tarver to tap out just barely a minute after Tarver got in the ring. And then finally, after Justin Gabriel gets in there, he finally gets beat down by Nexus, but is able to hold him off with a steel chair. And then the match is made, not for last night, not for next week, but for Hell in a Cell. It'll be Wade Barrett against John Cena. Wade Barrett basically says, hey, I have nothing more to prove to you, but if you want this match to happen, then you got to put something on the line. And basically, here's the stipulation. If Wade Barrett beats John Cena has to join the Nexus. Basically, Wade Barrett reminded John Cena of when he offered him to join the Nexus, and now Wade Barrett is saying, hey, because you refused me, you refused the offer, you turned it down, you're basically making me force your hand. But John Cena in turn says, okay, fine, but you have to put something on the line, and which means if John Cena beats Wade Barrett, then Nexus must disband, they must dissolve. And from what I read on various wrestling sites this morning, the word going around is Nexus's current form that we see on TV now will cease to exist at around October, so basically by Hell in a Cell. And again, I know some people might say, well, isn't that going to hurt them? Let me explain something. Nexus was basically brought in to bring in to establish new young faces, fresh faces for WWE programming, especially with the fact that SmackDown is going to Sci-Fi on the 1st of October. But anyway, that's my Raw review. I hope you all liked it. You got any comments, let me know. Put them down in the comment section, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out. God bless. See ya.